Every country can have its quirks, and one for the country of Spain is that they do things later than everyone else. Lots of travel guides will show things like Spain having lunch at 3 p.m. and dinner at 9 p.m., and that's their local time. Now, obviously every individual has their own schedule, but the average person in Spain notably does things at later hours than what most countries would do. Why is that? The answer is actually pretty simple, but it goes all the way back to World War II. But first, I'd like to talk about this video's sponsor, Call of War. Call of War is a free online PvP strategy game played by millions of users worldwide. You can conquer the world by choosing a country and finding other players in real-time battles, starting in World War II but with the potential to rewrite history. Use the strengths and weaknesses of different World War II tanks, planes, and ships to choose your own strategy of domination. You can also invest in the research tree to use atomic bombs and other powerful World War II weaponry. You can build an empire by taking over capitals and countries, waging war with your neighbors, and building alliances with other players. Call of War is fully cross-platform and can work with the same account on PC or mobile. Click the link below to get 13,000 golds and 1 month of high command subscription for free. But it's only available for 30 days, so get the game, wage war, and thanks to Call of War for sponsoring this video. So Spain was actually, for the most part, pretty neutral during World War II. Their country never declared war on anyone, mostly because they were ravaged from a 3-year civil war that lasted from 1936 to 1939. In that civil war, the winner ended up being the nationalists under Francisco Franco, who deemed himself as El Caudillo de España. So at first, strict neutrality made sense while the country recovered from the destructive war, especially considering France bordered them. But the neutrality strictness varied throughout the war. After France fell, Spain began discussing about the possibilities of joining the war on the side of Germany. As history would have it, all they ended up doing was sending some volunteer forces in a group known as the Blue Division to help the Axis invasion of the Soviet Union. Spain wasn't eager on waging war with the United Kingdom or later on the United States. And they also desired some possessions from France, such as Morocco, but they couldn't settle on that, so in the end, that was about as far as it went. However, in 1940, when the possibilities of joining the war were higher for Spain, Franco decided to do something that at first seemed unusual, changing the country's time zone. Nowadays, the world has a pretty set standard for time zones due to a global economy, but in the late 1800s and early 1900s, many countries were standardizing their time to move from a system based on the sun's position in the sky to a single time for a region or even the whole country. For Spain, they had already unified into a single time zone for the mainland of their country, Greenwich time, the time zone that the UK as well as Portugal were using. However, there were areas of confusion over things like daylight savings time, which is something Spain went back and forth on several times. During the Spanish Civil War, you even had daylight savings time used by the nationalists, but not by the Republican side. So in effect, during the summer, time zones ended at the front lines. Franco, upon winning, not only kept daylight savings time, but also decided in 1940 to change the time zone to that of Germany's. Germany, upon taking over the Netherlands, Belgium, Luxembourg, and France by the summer, had decided to change the time zones of those countries to Germany's time zone for the sake of convenience of coordination. For the occupying armies in the area, you could imagine that would be convenient for all time-based orders to be the same time whether in Paris or Berlin. Now, what Franco expected to get out of coordinating the time zones but remaining neutral anyway seemed to be nothing more than a bit of solidarity. And of course, Spain never ended up joining. After World War II, France and the Low Countries ended up remaining in the same time zone as Germany. For Spain, the switch was a temporary wartime, or, well, I guess technically neutral but coordinated change, yet they never bothered revoking it. Under Franco, Spain remained in this weird time zone, and even to this day they're still using it. It's easy to assume that since time is relative that it shouldn't be that big of a deal. But despite the time change in Spain, the real work times and eating times of most Spaniards remained the same. So basically the numbers on the clock changed, but nothing else. Hence traditionally having lunch at 3 p.m. and dinner at 9 p.m. But there are some who think that the difference has a negative effect on people's health and work efficiency. Due to the weird time, Spaniards tend to get less sleep on average as well as more working hours despite overall less productivity. Perhaps this is due to the time zone. After all, if we look at maps on what the time zone should be in an area based on the position of the sun, it means that during the summer there are some parts of Spain where the clocks are as much as 3.5 hours ahead of what it should ideally be. Obviously, time zones don't have to be perfect, but sometimes efficiency in one area can lead to problems in other areas. There have been efforts made to try to change Spain's time zone back to Greenwich time, but it's been going nowhere for the past several years, and I really don't see it going anywhere anytime soon. But considering how weird 2020 has been, who knows? Only time will tell. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe, and of course, once again, be sure to click that link in the description to get those bonuses from the Call of War game. I'm Emperor Tigerstar, and I'll see you guys next time.